And I want to answer this because this guy's been a pretty polarizing figure. Ben Cohen, Sami affectionately calls him Ben Copen, but he's been a pretty polarizing figure this bull market because essentially, give the guy his flowers, he's been calling things like pretty correctly, from what I've seen anyway. Now, he is kind of just Bitcoin centric. He also sells a service with tons of subscribers that he makes tons of money on and so he has like incentive to, tell them a certain thing, most likely. So anytime there's something like that, and it is significant. I mean, we're not talking about like a little wee Telegram group or something. I mean, like he makes shit tons of money from this thing. So
yeah.
I tend to take stuff like that with a grain of salt. That said, he has been right on a lot of stuff. The thing is, beyond all, I don't even understand what extended cycle means. This is what I mean. Like we were talking about that term or super cycle or whatever at the top of the show. What does he mean? I mean, you'd have to tell me what he means by that. But again, if the limits of that time-wise are what Ewok just said, like March of next year, I would definitely not consider that an extended cycle. Extended cycle would be through next year. Like we go through 2026 and like maybe the bear market begins in 2027. That would truly show something different. I think you would agree, Ewok. But like, I know, and I was watching other Ben Cohen videos the other day. I mean, he's talking about Ethereum going back to a lower level of support on the chart, like in terms of I forget what the moving average is, but basically a level that could be into the 3,000s. He has it going into there. And then I haven't really heard his long-term view on Ethereum. Every time I hear him, it's just basically moving the goalposts further and further that Ethereum bleeds against Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know what his ultimate like goal is for Ethereum this cycle, or if that's something he even really talks about. But I mean, I really just hear negative takes on Ethereum. And again, I will say, Ethereum wicked down to like $1,400 a couple months back, which no one thought was going to really happen, and he was kind of calling for that. So give him that. And again, I see a lot of his videos when he just says, "Oh, remember back here we said this." I have no way to prove whether he really said that or not, and I tend honestly not to trust his takes too much. But yeah, I'm curious what you think about any of that, Ewok, from Ben Cohen. And beyond all, just clarified and said cycle will top by the end of the year, not 20. Okay, so he's saying extended cycle, meaning not go into 2026. At this juncture, and again, these things, I mean, it is what it is. It changes. I mean, a couple weeks ago, we had Ethereum hitting a new all-time high, and I was like, okay, I mean, if we keep moving like this, maybe this all does happen by the end of the year. And that could still happen. I mean, we have 2 weeks until FOMC, where you and I have thought that Ethereum would get over $6,000 potentially by that chance. Sitting here today, that sounds like funny. It could happen. I mean, it absolutely could happen. So I just feel like, because if I had to answer this, well, talk about what Beyond All is talking about here. At this juncture, because Ethereum has been so underwater so badly for so long, even if we make a drastic move now, I think that we could see Ethereum top in 2026. I say the majority of my feeling is that we would see a top in 26. But what do you say about that, Ewok?
Well, yeah. I mean, like I said, I don't think it's going to go far into it. I really don't. But again, there is always that possibility, and you have to be careful about the people that are, selling any kind of financial advice. They're going to be very wishy-washy about things, so that they can always go back and say, well, I got it right. I mean, I said this, but it could be this. And there's a lot of that. They do it very, very well. For me, I don't know. I mean, I can speculate all I want, but I'm not charging anybody for my opinion, obviously. I am seeing a very nice bull flag here on the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio, where, we only have about 6 or 7 days till it has to decide what it wants to do. And I think you could see something at that point. I think it's going to bust out of here and go crazy. I really do. By the 10th, again, is about where this ends on this flag to decide. So keep an eye out for that. And I think that could kind of kick things off for, when we have the FOMC meeting, we've got that. There's just a lot of things coming to play here where it could get really heated really fast. And again, when things move, they move quickly. It doesn't have to take forever, months and months. That's not like that. You get about 6-8 weeks of a very heavy bull cycle, and that's it. Again, last cycle we did see that secondary top. It was very manipulated. I think people were trying to force it up, and it just didn't have the legs. It couldn't get anything going. And like I said, even on the pi cycle top indicator, it didn't show any kind of touching a top at all. It just wasn't there. So yeah, I still feel we're in the cards to get this thing ended by the end of the year at some point, maybe into January. Again, 28 days later, Ethereum tops. We could be January, February this cycle, and then things close out in March. But yeah, I wouldn't consider that an extended cycle either, at all by definition.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. And well, it remains to be seen. I mean, I still think the upside for Ethereum, I feel like we should be able to get to 10K for sure. I know Ewok has loftier numbers than that, but I mean, we've looked at what it did in 2017 and 2018 from August until January, and it did about a 7x from there. Now, there's two schools of thought there. Like, Ethereum was younger at the time and made more drastic moves. But that year, it had also already been going up. We haven't seen it even hit an all-time high yet, which is why, well, I mean, barely.
Barely.
So that's why, to me, even though it's now 2 cycles older, we could still see that kind of a move because it's just been suppressed for so long. It's got an ETF. Why does Bitcoin get the pump ETF treatment this whole cycle and Ethereum ends up never getting it? I mean, it just, and then
doesn't
you have guys,
sense.
Yeah. And then you have, and again, I know these like kind of older suit wearing legacy finance guys are often like wrong about this stuff, but Tom Lee is out here talking about, he's on all the I don't even know what he's on, Fox Money or whatever these goddamn networks are. I have no idea. But he's on these networks talking about Ethereum, what he thinks it can get to. He thinks it'll be 12K by the end of the year, which, I mean, that's not even a crazy number. And guys like him are out there buying it and everything. So it's cool to see that, but he's in the minority saying a lot of these things right now. So
yeah, that's just over a 2x, right? I mean, we kind of expect it to do more than that. So yeah, I think that's very, very, very low on speculation.
Even if it is just that, though, I mean, that would still put altcoins in good shape. I think it would still put this ecosystem in really good shape. I think we would be fine. But we saw how fast Ethereum moved to get to 5K a couple of weeks ago. And if it starts to go that fast again with the rate cuts coming here, money printing starting, yeah, I think we could see something. I mean, we haven't even mentioned this yet, really. But I mean, September, everybody always thinks it's Rectember. And, it's always... If you look back, and I will say, Charlie from Cultivate Crypto, I saw sharing this the other day, but he was looking through the September's history for Bitcoin and Ethereum. There's no real trend that it's always bad. I mean, there's that's just, I think, a recency bias that people had for a couple years in a row at one point. But overall, September just falls kind of in the middle in terms of performance for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So I think it catches everybody off guard, and we see bullish stuff this month. Everybody's bearish right now. And I just think, I mean, if you're counter trading what everybody thinks, I think the biggest thing is that people get caught off guard thinking that this was a Bitcoin only cycle and it's over. And then either Bitcoin still runs really hard and pulls everything else up, or it kind of runs and everything else just runs really hard, because they're all basically just, using recency bias and confirmation bias of what this cycle has been, is that's all it's going to be. So we're obviously betting that they're wrong on that.
Yep, we are.
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on Bitcoin or Ethereum there, Ewok?
No, not really. Like I said, it's just a patience thing to let some of these bull flags play out. Again, I think within the next week, you're going to see something with that ratio, the Bitcoin Ethereum ratio. It's got to do something. It's running out of time.
Yeah. Yep. And I think we're going to see it here soon, even if it's at the very end. So looking good.